Is your clutter keeping you stuck? Do you have a hard time getting rid of stuff and even a harder time letting go of a lot of things in life? Joining me is Clutter Interventionist Tisha Morris to talk about how to get to the root of why we have such a hard time getting rid of stuff and how that's linked to the psychological, emotional, and energetic components that is really hidden in our stuff. Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Now, tell me a little bit about clutter intervention. Do you find that you really have to intervene when somebody has a lot of clutter?
Well, I chose that topic or that title because it really speaks to the psychological components of why we hold on to the stuff we hold on to. And my theory is that we have to know the why before we can really do the how. And actually the how is really easy. I actually compare it to losing weight because we all know how to lose weight. We eat better, we exercise more, and yet why do we not do it? Right. So we had to get to the reason of why we hold on to stuff we hold on to. Mm-hmm. And then the letting go is really easy. And so it takes a psychological approach to that.
So why do we? Why do we hold on to so much stuff? Why?
Yeah, so there's two big categories. One is cultural reasons, and then the other is personal reasons. And so the cultural reasons is the baby boomer generation being a product of the Great Depression, where holding on was survival.
Right. Right.
And then following up with that was an economic system that of purchase, spend, consume.
Yes,
and
constant
I don't know
messages.
about you, but I grew up spending. We were told to spend our way out of recessions and all kinds of economic situations. And so we've been ingrained to spend and consume. And so so we're spending a lot of time spending. And not so much saving. That's not what our economic model is based upon. So we save our stuff. Instead of money, and we spend. So there's that component, and then there's personal components, and that's really what I talk about most is the personal reasons of why we hold on to the stuff we hold on to. And then the nugget of that is really about emotions.
Is it?
And it's about holding on to emotions that we are not really wanting to process or we don't know how to process.
Well, I can understand that about the sentimental items, but what about the non-sentimental items? Why do we hold on to the samples from the beauty store and the old ketchup in the the refrigerator? Why do we just hold on to that stuff?
Even the most functional seeming items have an emotional component.
Really?
The ketchup packets, for example, I know a specific example of a client who had stacks of takeout menus from when she lived in New York City. And now she lives in the suburbs in another state. And she hasn't really grieved that she's no longer living this young, hip lifestyle. And these menus actually represent that old aspect of herself that she hasn't fully let go of yet. And
I
so
can see that,
even the ketchup packets or the
soy sauce, it just adds up.
Yes.
You think you're going to need those again, and you don't.
Even let's say coupons for an oil change, it can actually trigger guilt or resentment. Guilt of I should be taking care of my car. These are subconscious conversations we're having with ourselves that we're not really conscious of. And so the more we can bring it to the surface, then it's okay, I'm either going to use the coupon or I'm going to throw it away.
Throwing it away, that's what it triggers me, is wastefulness. When you order anything to go and they give you 500 napkins and then 25 chopsticks, then you think, I can't throw this away, this is wasteful. Yeah, and it's to stop it at the beginning of that, right?
Right. The reduce, reuse, recycle is definitely the adage and the mantra that we should work with. But it's actually, so a lot of times in the clutter world, we think about these things that are in our everyday space, the mail and the takeout things, but it's actually the stuff that we stuff away that really is the culprit. And it's the stuff in our closets, the stuff in our drawers, the stuff that we don't want to deal with. And that's actually the spaces that we should be putting the stuff that is in our everyday viewing into these spaces. So what we think of as usually our typical clutter issues is really not the big culprit.
Oh, so these things aren't the big deals. It's what's really in the back of the closet.
That's right.
Which represents what's in the back of the emotions, right?
That's right, exactly.
Okay, so give me an example. What would be stuck in my closet?
Well, probably not you, but
Okay,
old love letters from an ex.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Things from college, things from other relationships, things from past careers, things from the past, really. That's the stuff that we store away. It's taking up space. It maybe we put it in a way that we don't have to see it. If we don't see it, we don't deal with it.
Yep.
The phrase of in the closet, we don't want to deal with it. We don't want others to see it. I don't want to even see it. And so these are aspects of ourselves that we have not integrated. Yeah.
And now, what about if they're sentimental, like letters from your child or photos from young, baby photos and so forth, artwork?
So then you're getting into, is it clutter?
Ah, okay, so that's separate.
Yeah.
Okay, so that gets processed in a separate way.
That's right.
So then how much clutter is clutter then, Tisha? Like, how much is considered clutter?
It's different for everyone.
Okay.
And it's like in the decluttering world, we want these bright line rules. And there's some guideposts we can use, but it's really individual basis. And so the amount of stuff that feels good around me is going to be different than the amount of stuff that feels good around you. And everyone knows the answer to that question, if they have too much stuff or not.
Yeah. I mean, I like clear counters. I don't like anything on the counters, but what I wind up doing is shoving it in a drawer. And shoving it in a drawer, and then the drawers you can't even open. And it's mail and clothes, like clutter, paperwork and so forth, yeah.
So I have in my book these clutter archetypes. And
great.
The people who struggle with papers,
Yes.
I call they're the archetype of the resourceful. And that, like, they're information junkies.
Yes, yes.
And they're also, part of their identity is being in the know, being resourceful. They always have advice and good tips for other people, and it's a great thing to be.
Magazines.
Magazines.
That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the resourceful archetype.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so the problem with that is it's great to have resourceful people and to be one, but if you have too much material, it actually turns in on of itself and it becomes counterproductive. And so you're not as resourceful as you would be.
As you think you are.
Yes, that's right.
Ah, yes. Too much is cluttering.
That's right.
Very true. And what about another archetype?
The beauty queen, bath products. Bath products, and these are usually people who got a lot of positive reinforcement around their looks, and there's a holding on to that. And by holding on to beauty products is an attempt to hold on to their beauty, and clearly that's not a true parallel. But on some level, that's what's going on. And a lot of times with this, when I work with folks in workshops or one-on-one and they have this realization, it's the key that unlocks it. And it's like, oh, okay. And then it's like, okay. And then it's a matter of then the how of okay, what's the best way to get rid of this stuff?
That's how letting go of your past is getting rid of your clutter, or getting rid of your clutter is letting go of your past.
Exactly.
That's a perfect example.
Exactly.
Yes. And there are all these samples that they throw in the bags that, the 24 karat gold facial. Here's this thing. You can't even read what's in the little sample.
Right.
To know. But then it feels, you're holding on to some dream of a 24 karat gold looking face. And it's never going to. So you could just let that go and be appreciative of the beauty that you have.
Yes.
That's what you're saying.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes. And, when it comes to beauty products, there is for folks who are very, environmental minded, as we should be, again, reduce, reuse, recycle, reduce. So when people give you free samples, say no thanks. Or if it's not your color, it doesn't work with your hair, if there is a way to reuse it, great. If not, if finding a way to recycle is great. If still there's not really anything to do with it besides put in the trash, I know that's hard. I have a hard time doing it myself. But you also should not make your bathroom cabinet a landfill either.
There's actually a conference I go to, and they're always at a hotel, and at the end of the conference, there's a box, and you put your used items, your shampoos and lotions and so forth, in the box, and it goes to the nearest women's shelter.
Yes, perfect.
Which is great,
Yep.
and it's a constant thing to do at all of the conferences that this particular organization handles. So there's ways to move it on to a place where it's needed, rather than just filling up a landfill with it.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So many different things here, and I want to find out about your story and how you got into this, because you have quite a background. I didn't even mention that you're an attorney.
Yes.
Which couldn't be attorney turned Feng Shui consultant turned business coach.
Yes.
How does this work?
Well, at the end of the day, my whole mission is ways to raise the consciousness of our planet while also helping people live their best life. And so I just tap into my best skills and talents of how I can find ways of doing that. And so my first career was as a bankruptcy foreclosure attorney.
My goodness.
That was not very fulfilling.
Wow, yeah.
And so I went and got an interior design degree, which was the exact and then I got into spirituality. So it was like, went from bankruptcy and foreclosure to manifesting and decorating homes, like
Wow.
the complete opposite. And so, I grew up in a very, very head house, and so the law served that well.
Oh.
And then I went into completely polar opposite and really found, built up my intuition, opened my heart, and so now I've merged those two, and I want to help people do the same. So many people are in the healing arts now, and I want to
Yes.
help them monetize in a way that can bring their gifts into the world in a successful way.
So you can use your law background to help people have great books or
Exactly.
good book deals when they're dealing with contracts and so forth.
Right.
But in the transformational space.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, I think we're at a time where we're merging the masculine and feminine, the business and the heart. And that's what I've been doing myself, the integration of the two.
Yes.
And so I want to be able to help others do that as well. And
We're seeing that rhetoric in politics too.
Exactly.
At least some of the new politicians are really trying to merge that word
exactly, and that's
politics and love.
that's the integration that we're needing overall because of
Yes.
you can see it in the masculine and feminine archetypes. And we have to integrate those two for true balance.
How about the decluttering space, though? That's a little different than what's the difference between Feng Shui and decluttering?
Good question. So Feng Shui is a Chinese art and science that dates back thousands and thousands of years ago. We use that word a lot in the West because it was brought to the West. There's a lot of other traditions that bring consciousness into spaces as well. That the Feng Shui has kind of been the word that's lived kind of
Stuck.
like yoga. And,
Yes.
and so clutter, on the other hand, has not been such a big deal for thousands of years. It's more of a modern epidemic. And so it's kind of sometimes falls under the category of Feng Shui. In my opinion, the first step to Feng Shui is removing the blocks. I mean, that's what Feng Shui is. It's about getting energy to flow. And so to do that, you have to remove blocks. A lot of times people think of Feng Shui as adding a bunch of stuff. And in some practices it can be.
Right.
But a lot of times it's about
Right.
removing, almost always in the West, in our Western world, it's about removing.
It's about clearing.
That's right.
Now, explain a little bit of what Feng Shui is so that we can get an idea of, you said it's about moving energy in a space, but how do you do that?
So if you think about it, we live in boxes.
True, squares.
A square, yeah. A roof, four walls, it's a container. And nature is Feng Shui. It's the balance, it's the yin and the yang, it's the elements, everything's flowing in nature that's untouched by man at least. And so we are trying to replicate that within our box.
Yes, yes.
And getting energy to flow. And so within that box, then we put up walls. The walls dictate where the energy is going to flow or where it doesn't flow. Then we populate it with furniture, which further divides
Blocks.
where the energy is going to block or not, or flow or not flow. And then our stuff
On top of the
on top of that.
furniture.
Yes.
Mhm.
So Feng Shui helps us kind of, with all that going on, get the energy.
When you
moving.
really put it that way, it is a lot of clutter, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is a lot
Yes.
of clutter. But what would be the functionality of a room with nothing in it?
Well, it'd be very ungrounding.
Ah,
Yeah. So so that's the yin and the yang. And in Feng Shui, the goal is for the energy to what we call meander, which is the intersection of yin and yang, feminine and masculine. Too much yang, it rushes. Too much yin, it stagnates.
Uh-huh.
So we want a balance of those two.
That's great.
Yeah.
So in a room, in a typical, let's say a bedroom, is there a way to clear the space to help a relationship?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I can go into anyone's bedroom and tell you what's going on in your relationship.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Give us an example.
Well, the first, if one is single or in a non-committed relationship, they're going to have one nightstand, or a predominance of one side of the bed being a lot of stuff and the other side being empty. If it's a relationship where there's a major power imbalance, the bed might be all the way against the wall to where one person has to go climb in over the other to get to their side. Go in, just think of how literal that is.
Yes.
Go through the other person to get to their side.
Right. Right. What about stuff under the bed?
So that will not affect the relationship per se, but it could affect your health actually. Whatever is under your bed, think about if you were to actually lay on that stuff.
Oh, so you actually are.
That's the energy that's coming up through there, literally.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So the only things that I recommend storing under a bed are things that you'd lay on, like linens. You could get away with some sweaters, but it's definitely not a place to put clutter. And it's definitely not a place to put divorce papers or I've had, believe it or not, people.
Yeah.
So it's very telling.
Yeah, that's great. It probably transformed everything.
Yeah.
And what about colors or elements? Does that shift a space as well?
So the bedroom's in the one room that we want a little more yin, a little more restful, peaceful energy, and so soft colors, restful colors, not colors that are bright and like not a lot of artwork that's with a lot of movement. You want more calm, serene, restfulness. Yeah.
This is all great because it's a perfect balance of what's happening in your space and what's happening in your head. And so there right now we are in our fun drive here at Free Speech. And if you would like to learn how to clear your space and bring more order into your life, which is what this is really about, now that we understand that our clutter is keeping us stuck, this is a way to bring freedom into your life. So you can do this with Tisha Morris's DIY course. It's a do-it-yourself course, and you can space clear it yourself. This is wonderfully empowering, it's fun, and it's available during the fun drive at Free Speech TV. It is a pledge of $175 to this wonderful network, and then you will be sent a downloadable link of 4 of Tisha's decluttering courses, and this is Feng Shui for the DIY, for the do-it-yourself. There's videos, there's practical wisdom to organize your home, your work, your relationship. And it's according to the principles of the elements of Feng Shui. So there's a lot to this. Bottom line is, if you're inspired by this, you want to take this to the next level, it's really about supporting our wonderful mission-driven programming that brings together this type of conversation. So here's how you do this. You call 877-378-8669, or you go to freespeech.org. And when you go to freespeech.org, you can just click on the donate button there, choose the Aware Show or the wonderful Decluttering Course by Tisha Morris, and it is a $175 donation to Free Speech TV, which we absolutely appreciate. It allows us to do more independent investigative journalism coverage. It comes to you through our wonderful networks here. So thank you for allowing us to empower you through information and through a course like this, because it is ultimately about supporting you and moving energy and allowing you to be more free, which is also what this network is. It is commercial free, by the way. So this type of fundraiser gives us the ability to keep this commercial-free independent news flowing. So the number, again, 877-378-8669, or you can go to freespeech.org and you can just choose the donation button there, and you go to The Aware Show, and a $175 donation there gets you the wonderful Decluttering Practical, Do-It-Yourself, Empowering course, Tisha Morris's Decluttering Course, and it's a huge benefit. It's so helpful when I've noticed whenever I clear something, especially my desk. Let's talk about desks. In the past, every time I cleared my desk, just completely cleared it, and just had my workstation there, I got new work in. Mm-hmm. Every time.
Yes.
Come to think of it, I need to do that again, because my desk is so cluttered. It does. It gets stacked up with the papers and the vitamin bottles and everything that goes on a desk. So what's the philosophy behind clearing your desk?
Yes. So yes, the home office, we're home office or outside of the home office. Even if no one ever comes into your office, as you know, with energy, everything starts with here. And so how we feel is going to set the tone for what we bring back to us. And so feeling good in our workspace is so essential to success. And so there are some rules that Feng Shui gives us, and really the power position. Your desk should, while you're sitting at your desk, you should be able to see the door. So if you're facing a wall, you will be facing walls in your work. You'll be facing challenges. You're going to be in a disempowered position. And so this goes to, like I said, if no one even ever comes in your office, it's about your energy and how you feel, okay? And so you can look at corporate America, and they've known this on some level for eons, because the executive will be facing the door in the big executive desk. Middle management is the L-shaped, where they're halfway to the door and halfway to the wall, and then staff are in cubicles with their back to the walk through.
What about the window? Is that important?
So if there's a window, ideally you want to be able to see out the window and have a solid wall behind you. That's the ideal, what we call the power position in Feng Shui.
Now what happens if the window and the door are on two separate walls?
Yeah, so every room has a power position.
Okay.
Not just every room. And so not every room is set up with the doors and the windows where they need to be. But there's an ideal position somewhere in the room. But being able to see the door is the number one
key, because then you see what's coming. What's the metaphor?
It's like you can go to any coffee shop today, and the power positions are taken first. It's the same as like you don't want to sit to your back to the door in a restaurant. It's our amygdala. It's our fight or flight. It's where we feel empowered. So it will dramatically change your work if someone has their desk facing a wall, or and if you move it to the power position, something major will shift in your work within a day or two.
Even clearing your desk.
So then, yes, clearing your desk. Also decluttering office stuff, okay?
The drawers.
The drawers.
I gotta get to,
But also especially, we are changing careers and jobs on such a rapid pace now.
And we're all working, a lot of us are working from home.
Yeah. And so if you have stuff from a previous career, then you're not fully in this one. A lot of times I know this myself when I've transitioned from being a lawyer to a holistic practice. I still had the old business suit of just in case business suit.
What about all the law books?
Well, luckily things were virtual when I went to by the time I went to law school. Yeah.
Wow.
Although I'm sure I had some, but I'm a very virtual online. Anything that can be digital, I am the first one to sign up for that. But clothes is my Achilles heel. I can get really attached to clothing. It has memories for me, whether I'm aware of it or not. And so that last business suit that I got rid of, and I had not been practicing law for years and still had that suit. And I finally had to get real with myself, and even if I were to need the suit, it's not a style that I would wear now.
Right, it's probably got shoulder pads.
Yeah, exactly. And so I got rid of the suit, and that next week I got tons of new clients in my holistic practice.
Wow.
But here's the thing, here's what I was attached to. It wasn't the identity of, I want to be a lawyer or something like that. It was the identity of being in a profession that my parents approved of.
Yes, yes.
That makes sense to the community and family. And that seemed reliable, financially smart, not woo-woo. Those were the identities that I was still attached to. And so when we bring all of our energy into the present, that's when we're at our most powerful.
That's interesting. So really everything has kind of a psychological component. I recently did a whole, closet clearing, and I got rid of a bunch of old suitcases.
Baggage.
Getting rid of baggage, right?
Yeah.
Old suitcases. The zippers were broken, and a lot of, and I didn't realize how, that's interesting. I got rid of a lot of baggage.
Yeah. Yeah, baggage. So I imagine you got rid of other things around that time.
Yes, I got rid of a lot of comforters and sheets, old sheets,
so comfort,
towels.
So things that were comfortable to you. You're releasing old comforts.
Wow. Do you really look at it that way?
Very literal.
That's so interesting. What about the sheets?
Literal.
The twin sheets. We don't have twin beds. We had twin sheets. And
so yeah, you look at when the point of your life you had those twin beds, what was going on in your life and what you haven't let go of. It's actually, and what I've realized even since writing this book, it's not about letting go the past, like, oh, that comfortable side of me, I'm letting it go. It's about integrating. So you still appreciate comforts, and yet you probably, of course, you appreciate expansion and doing things out of your comfort zone at the same time.
That's interesting. That's exactly what I've been working on. Working on getting out of my comfort zone and things.
So it's not that we should be comfortable and feel safe and secure, but we also want the expansion and doing things that are new and exciting.
Yes.
I usually find people the opposite. They're holding on to things from a time in their life when things were really exciting. They were doing all these fun, crazy things when you're young, and they're holding on to those things that represent that, and it's integrating. Okay, I need more fun now.
Yeah.
I want more fun and exciting and adventure.
The bottle openers and stuff.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
That I had attached onto the old suitcases. Yeah. All that. It's really amazing. It's so metaphorical, but it really is about clearing your stuff, clearing emotional and physical items. I want you to take a look here at Tisha Morris talking about mind, body, home. Take a look.
There was a switch I had when I started to really understand the 5 elements. I think I was having some health challenges and was studying the 5 elements from a Chinese medicine perspective, which is basically acupuncture. That's what acupuncture is. It's then balancing the 5 elements within your body. And then realizing that we have the 5 elements are very present in our home. And it's the same, it's basically acupuncture for the home is Feng Shui in some ways. And so I really delved into the 5 elements and then wrote a book about it and decorating with the 5 elements of Feng Shui. But my biggest takeaway as I was writing that book was just how important our built environment, any space, any architectural space that's built, our built environment is our bridge between us as humans
Tisha Morris
and
is
nature.
an expert in Feng Shui. She's here now to talk about how to make your entire home not only look great, but feel great based on the elements of Feng Shui. Welcome back to Talk of the Town. It's nice to see you again. Okay, so I think a lot of folks don't really understand what Feng Shui is and they think it's just kind of weird, and all that. Explain it so that we can understand it and why it's important.
Exactly. It can be really simple and fun because you can use just your everyday objects.
Tisha Morris is the best-selling author of books like Decorating with the 5 Elements of Feng Shui, Mind, Body, Home, Transform Your Life, One Room at a Time, and Feng Shui Your Life, the quick guide to decluttering your home and renewing your life. Prior to entering the healing arts, Tisha practiced law and obtained a fine arts degree in interior design. She's a certified Feng Shui consultant, life coach, energy healer, and yoga instructor. Tisha works one-on-one with clients, homes, and businesses, and is the founder of Earth Home School of Feng Shui.
Required. Feng Shui is up now.
Maybe Tisha will offer some more affordable advice if you make it quick.
What do you have there in your hand?
It's called a trifield meter, and it checks the electromagnetic. See, it starts to go up here. See, right in here, there's something going on.
Her toolkit is stocked for every energy.
Can you pop your trunk? Or maybe more that way?
Oops, doesn't fit. So what did we learn?
It's really amazing. That helped to have this area come alive, but it's like
It really did.
it felt a bit like a Nell ghost town.
It's funny that you should mention that because in this area, it's a graveyard, and it's been said that maybe some of the people that are there like to come and go in the village.
So get their nails done?
This was an extremely important discussion for me, and I think so often people just have no idea of what Feng Shui is actually about. It's not just about how you arrange the furniture in your house. It's about who we are as planetary beings. It's how we learn to live in balance and harmony with nature. I wouldn't call Tisha a Feng Shui expert. I'd call her an ambassador, a messenger with a profound understanding of our universe and how we can thrive within it. I hope you get as much enjoyment out of this discussion as I did.
That was such a great and beautiful example of how when you clear your space, you bring more order into your life. And now that we are understanding through this great interview with Tisha Morris that our clutter is really keeping us stuck, wouldn't you like to have more freedom in your life? And if it is as simple as going through your house and getting this do-it-yourself space clearing project here that Tisha's offering for the fund drive, it's so simple and so empowering and wonderful. And it is a digital offer, so I want to mention that you need a computer to do this, but along what Tisha was saying, along the lines of what she was saying, this is a very clutter-free premium. So if you give us a call here at 877-378-8669, you can ask the volunteers there in the phone room for Tisha Morris's Decluttering Course. It is Feng Shui for the DIY soul, and you can basically do this stuff yourself, full of practical wisdom, a way to organize your home, to organize your workspace if you work from home, organize your bedroom, to organize the relationship. All of these things are according to the principles of Feng Shui. There's so much more here. And again, if you go online to freespeech.org and you want to donate there, it's a $175 donation to the station. And again, you're supporting mission-driven programming. It brings together community, brings you all this great independent investigative journalism and all this great coverage. And that's how we operate because it is free. So we offer this wonderful station and we ask for your support. So please give us a call, 877-378-8669. And you can also go to freespeech.org and you can ask them, or look on there for the donation button and ask them for Tisha Morris's Decluttering Course. It really is wonderful. And it comes through you, after the fund drive, you will get a link and then you will download the course on your computer. So you're not having another thing to stick on a shelf that you're not going to watch. You're going to actually do this right here and right now. Super practical, very easy course, which I really appreciate. In your video there, you mentioned that Feng Shui is like acupuncture for the home. I love that analogy. It really clears and moves like meridians would in acupuncture, right?
Exactly, and actually, it's actually a literal thing because Feng Shui and acupuncture both come out of Chinese medicine, so they use the same language.
Huh.
And so, yeah, acupuncture, just like yoga, is about removing the blocks, whether it's the meridians or the chakras, so that energy can flow.
Okay.
So it's just, that's what we do, and that's what we do with our spaces.
I mean, if you've ever tried acupuncture, it's a really wonderful thing, and it has its very 5,000-year-old system of removing blockages from energy meridians in the body. So in doing this in your home, it's the same thing. You're removing blockages and allowing energy to start to move in your home.
That's right.
Is there a good time of year to do this, or is there a regular time of the month to do this? What is?
Great question. You know, I see Feng Shui, or you don't even have to call it Feng Shui. It's about bringing consciousness to your space, which is also just a metaphor for your life. Mm-hmm. And this is a lifestyle. And so this is actually why I created the DIY course.
That's cool.
So that you don't have to, people think you hire someone to come Feng Shui your house. No, this is stuff that you just integrate into your everyday practice. I use actually Feng Shui as a manifesting tool.
Ah.
Your home is just like a living giant vision board. For people who've done vision boarding, where you put what you want. Like our home is just like a satellite dish beaming out our energy. And so you can think about pasting all the contents of your home onto this board, and is it representative of you or who you want to be?
Like how would a couch do that?
Well, a couch, do you enjoy your couch, or is it a couch that you kind of compromise for? Or is it a couch from a former divorce? Is it a couch that you've never really liked, but you've kind of like settled for? Or is it a couch you love, and it really
makes a difference in your life, right? And you love cuddling into it or whatever.
Yes. Yeah. So not just the things you see out, but the things in your closet.
Okay.
Are you reflecting back college 19
Yes.
Date myself, 90s.
Yeah.
Or,
well, that's a good point, because some of those college items, I mean, look, some people spend a lot of money on college, and that sweatshirt's going to hang there because it's a $100,000 sweatshirt, if you think about it. I mean, what do you do? Obviously, it's out of date and has stains on it. Do you just hold on to the memory? What do you do with that stuff?
well, does the memory go away if the sweatshirt goes away?
Probably not.
And if you, the sweatshirt probably more represents fun and like friends and that time of year, but at that time of life. But if it does represent the degree, what you're, the $100,000, you by releasing the sweatshirt, then you integrate the benefits of that degree even more. So
you do it consciously.
That's right. These items are still hanging around for a reason. They're actually not just taking up space for a reason. They want to be seen. They want to be. Their story wants to be told so that it can be integrated into who we are now.
You just triggered a memory of mine. I remember my daughter and I cleaned out a bunch of her old toys. We put them in the back of the car and we drove to Goodwill, and I unloaded them from the back of the car, put them in the Goodwill pile, and as I was driving away, I started to tear up.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh my God, I just dropped off my childhood. I just dropped her, and she's sitting in the car next to me, and I'm trying not to, freak out because I didn't want to make her feel bad about her childhood that we just left on the sidewalk. But it wasn't really that, and I had to. It was weird.
Yeah, no, it's totally
Yeah, it
makes
was a
sense. Because it's not really about the toys, it's what the toys represent.
Yes.
And this is why I actually I'm not a big proponent of huge purges until and when one is ready for that, because it's a lot of emotion processing at one time.
Yeah.
So it's something that you really should do very consciously, and it's an opportunity for processing emotion and healing and moving on. And
well, she was over it. It was me. And I talked myself down because I thought, okay, great. Another child is going to really enjoy this doll and this little toy horse. But all of that represented for me her imagination at play and where she sparked that creativity. And there was so much more that went to just the toy horse.
Yeah.
And it was really a symbolism of playing with toys instead of phones. And I'm getting way too detailed about this. What's a good ceremony to release that stuff? Help me out.
Well, I think what you did was awesome. Actually, I think you did it just right. And the fact that y'all did it together, and like even that moment, that experience of y'all going to Goodwill is really sweet.
Yeah.
It's not like you had someone come in and just like take it all.
Yeah.
You had an experience with your daughter that was really special.
Yeah. Well, speaking about daughters, we all have parents who are aging, or they have clutter, years and years of it, or have passed on, and you have their items to deal with.
Yep.
You've been through this, and I've been through this. Tell me a little bit about your story, and then how did you deal with it?
Sure. Yes. I mean, of our generation, we get hit from the upline and the downline, both directions, and that's kind of another reason why we have so much stuff right now in our culture. The stuff from departed loved ones I spent a whole chapter on this in my book because it's a big one, and where one is in moving through this stuff from departed loved ones will be in proportion to where you are in the grief cycle, and the grief cycle being the 5 stages of grief. And so I am not one to push someone on, you need to clear it all out. Like, it is part of the process, and it will be mirroring where one is in the process.
And for people that don't know, the 5 stages of death is denial, anger, bargaining, acceptance.
Yes.
And there's a
depression.
Yes. Yeah. And you go through the different stages at various times.
That's
when you visit them.
And so folks, especially those close spouses and daughters,
parents,
sons, parents of those who are the closest to it. It is actually the stuff that you use for the grief process. And so, working with a therapist or a grief specialist while dealing with this stuff, or other friends and family, is really recommended, because it's just a lot. And like I said, it's the stuff, especially the stories want to be told. Like, those are the pants he wore when he mowed the yard. I mean, like, there's a process that goes with the letting go of this stuff. So it really is something to handle with kid gloves.
It does.
It's
right, but when you look at it and you see the memory that, and this is what happens is you find a book and then you start going through of the notebooks or the books or the memory that's and you dive in and you get stuck in the minutia of it. How do you suggest getting through that?
Yeah, so, you know, first step with actually any decluttering project, get rid of this easy stuff, the stuff that's like, oh, we can just throw this away, like packages or packaging or, you know, stuff that's just trash that's easy.
Okay.
It's like just removing as much as you can that's not emotionally triggering.
Okay.
And then a lot of times we get hung up in the headspace and we get ping pong, like, should, you know, but that's, so if you go into the headspace of like, should I not, should I not, or even the minutia, what you're saying, where the mind is taken over of the feelings. The mind has hijacked the emotions, and sometimes we need that, you know, for big stuff like for departed loved ones. But just catch yourself. If you go into the mental space, it is only a cover-up to hide the emotions.
So do you just go right into the emotion right there?
I mean, again, the stuff of departed loved ones, if it's too soon, it may be too soon.
Right.
But, you know, the college sweatshirts, yes.
Can you do anything to help that emotion flow easier? Is there an element or incense, or is there anything that you can do to help with that?
Again, I think if it's fresh, having someone there with the person who's dealing with it.
Yeah, that's probably easier.
A friend or family or a professional, but friend or family personally would be best.
I think, I don't know if I got this from your book, but when I pull stuff out of a closet, say I want to clear the closet, I pull all of it out, and then I separate it into 3 piles. This one you have to deal with later because it's going to require a little bit of emotion.
Yes.
This is the easy stuff to get rid of, and then the middle is the stuff that you can sort through pretty fast.
Yes, that's what I recommend.
Yes,
those piles like that. Yes. So deal with the big stuff last, because what happens is, this is what most people don't realize, decluttering is really simple, and what happens is we start like, oh, clean out my drawer or whatever, and then suddenly it's like, I think maybe I need to go to the grocery store. Well, subconsciously you've hit upon an emotional minefield that you don't want to look at.
Oh, yes.
And so
I do the opposite. I can't take a phone call. I don't want to speak to it. I just want to clear. And it's almost like a hormone releases in my brain that just says, I need to clear now. And
yeah, well, it probably is. I mean, releasing is a normal process. So incoming and outgoing.
Yes.
This is the yin and yang. It's like a snake shedding its skin. There is a natural process of what goes in needs to go out.
Yes.
And if we follow those rhythms, and sometimes it can be seasonal, fall and spring.
Yeah, which I think is great.
Yeah.
I think that's great because every time you clear, and my experience is that you are more conscious of the stuff coming in.
Exactly.
And I've cleared and cleansed the house, and then I went on a buying moratorium.
Yeah.
Nothing comes in this house in a bag.
You will be so much more conscious about what you purchase after decluttering. So yeah, decluttering will reduce consumption.
Yes, because we are marketed to all day long and told that we're not good enough unless we buy this product, and then this will make us thinner, happier, and healthier. And then comes the stuff back in the room. You've got to really consciously be aware of that type of marketing.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, there's a piece that I go to here, and I love doing this. It's we call it the Aware News. And I always like to bring in meaningful, relevant information that helps us move forward and offer solutions and practical advice for our listening audience. And in this particular situation, there is the American Psychiatric Association talks about hoarding. And there's a big issue when it comes to hoarding. And there's a compulsive hoarding disorder that is the extreme side of it. But it says that around 2 to 5 people have issues with hoarding. So if this is you, or if you know somebody that has an issue with hoarding, then you actually can, do you have solutions around this?
Well, I like your recommendation. There are so many professional organizations that have meetings, and you can go to.
There's one, Clutters Anonymous. There's certified professional organizers that can help you. Clutters Anonymous is a good one.
You can put in your zip code and see what's
around
nearby.
You. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So those are great options for sure. And
have you dealt with hoarding issues before, where you come in, there's an...
I actually have not,
No.
and I do believe it is more for in the psychologists
true.
area, and it just
Right.
plays out in the home.
So it also could be associated with something like OCD or any other type of compulsive order. Well, I don't want to say disorder, but it's making order of something. And this is a great thing to address. My grandmother was a compulsive hoarder, and when we went in to move her out, you couldn't walk through the space. And so I also understand that that's genetic in a way, because then my father wound up being the same way. So how do you break the cycle on something like that?
Yeah, these are partially learned things. I learned, thankfully, organization from my mom. She was extremely organized. That doesn't mean she didn't have clutter by any means, but she was organized. I learned organized. People learn depression from their parents. People learn all kinds of bad habits and good habits from their parents. And so if one learned hoarding, it's because they saw this as a coping mechanism.
Right.
And I will say one thing, I'm not a specialist in hoarding, but with anyone with clutter, considered with clutter issues, inherent at the heart of it, our stuff is just aspects of ourselves. And so when we throw away something, this is why a lot of times I want it to go to a good home. What we're saying is, I'm throwing away part of me. This is why I want it to go to a good home. I'm not trash. I'm not wasteful. I'm not a waste. And so there's a real deep self-worth issue at the core of that.
Yes. Or the opposite is, if I have this stuff, then I'm worth something.
Yes.
If I have this stuff, I'm good enough. If I pad myself with enough stuff around me, then I'm not lonely. There's so many issues that can go with it. And the scarcity, and
the stuff is just an externalization of everything inside. And this is why it is such a powerful modality to make change. It's because it is in our 3D, physical world, which is our densest layer. And so removing it allows new energy to come into our life, and that's why it is such a powerful modality. I've done a lot of practiced a lot of healing modalities in my career, and this is why I wrote a book on this one. Is because it is so powerful.
It is. It is so powerful, and it's so powerful how our stuff is linked to our psyche. And when you clear your space, you bring more order to your life. And so, just to support once again our fund drive here at Free Speech, I want to mention that we have this great Declutter course that is Tisha Morris's DIY course, and it is a way for you to be empowered to clear your stuff yourself. Very empowering, and it is the fund drive here, so if you call right now and donate $175, you will be sent a downloadable link of 4 of Tisha's decluttering courses. So call us here at 877-378-8669 or go to freespeech.org. It is a $175 donation. And the reason that this is downloadable is so you're not getting another piece of clutter to maybe never pay attention to. This is really for you to do this on your own. And is it a course where you can watch and then you can walk away and do something with it?
Yes.
Okay, so it's step by step?
I'm a very action-oriented person. So
tell me a little bit about it.
Sure. So it's 4 modules, and with working with your home, you can work from it either direction, from your life of I want to change, I want to attract a relationship, or I want to clarity about a job. Like you can use
a goal.
Yes, and everywhere in our house represents an aspect of ourselves, in addition to our stuff. Our home is just an exact mirror of ourselves. And so that's the magic of this work. As you make changes to it, you make changes to your life. And so the course follows I want to make Feng Shui and very simple for people.
Okay.
And it relates to clutter in that focusing on what area of your home can bring you the most change depending on what's going on in your life.
Well, that was interesting what you just said. Our home is a mirror of ourselves. So when you look at a home as a whole, and if it's cluttered, So we most likely have clutter in our thoughts, in our heads, right?
Sure.
But you can actually clear that by clearing your home, and it starts to clear the clutter in your mind, right?
Yes. But a lot of people don't want their mind cleared. They want distraction. So you have to be willing to...
This could be backyards also, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Every part of the house represents something. Our backyard actually represents the parts of our private sides. The part the public doesn't see.
The side of the house, yes. Yeah. What about undone projects? The perpetually undone project.
The procrastinator.
Yes.
Perfectionism is usually the source, the root of that. Yeah, perfectionism, which is, again, goes back to self-worth, because it's never going to be good enough.
It's all tied in.
Yeah.
I mean, I have so many questions. The vases and the things that appear, because someone's so wonderful to send you flowers, but then the vases collect.
Oh, I know. That is so difficult, isn't it?
They're great vases, and you're going to use them again to put flowers in, or not.
Maybe not 10 of them.
No, I know. You need maybe 2. Coffee cups. Everywhere you are, you get that little memorable mug. And
So my one collection is coffee cups from travels.
You too?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, what about collections?
Yes.
Pens, coins.
Yeah. Collections are a very specific identity that we have that's we're needing to overcompensate in some way.
Interesting.
So it's an extreme identity.
Overcompensation.
We're overcompensating. So I love coffee shops.
Yes.
Like that's my thing.
Okay.
And so I'm just like thinking about this right now, like going to coffee shops in new cities. I love doing that, and I love to get a mug from there. And so it's actually in my Instagram handle. And so this is a part of my identity.
What is it?
That makes sense of
the Instagram.
I say something like I write books on Feng Shui and decluttering while finding the perfect coffee shop or something. When I'm not finding the perfect coffee shop.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
So yeah, it's like an extreme personality or identity that we have. And so with collections, the baseball collection, it could be like the desire to be a sports hero figure, or there's some nuanced thing about.
Are you a hidden barista?
Maybe.
Is that it?
Maybe.
A coffee connoisseur?
I think I just like to be served the coffee and not make it.
You love, I'll tell you what it is. I love the same thing. My favorite moment of the day is that first sip of coffee in the morning.
Yes.
I love the feeling, the warmth, the break, the smell, the aroma. I love that moment of the day.
I agree.
It is peace.
Yes.
No matter what happens before or after that, that moment is peace.
I would agree with you.
I'm right there with you, sister. Well, and also, if you want to look at more of Tisha's courses, you could look up her website, which is tishamorris.com, which is a beautifully feng shui site, which I love. Each site is very clean. Lots of other great interviews that she's done on there, so you can check out other tips at tishamorris.com. And to support our wonderful fund drive here at Free Speech, you can call 877-378-8669 or go to freespeech.org. If you could donate $175, then you will be able to be sent a downloadable link of 4 of Tisha Morris's decluttering courses. And it is Feng Shui for the do-it-yourself soul. These are videos, very practical wisdom to organize your home, your workspace, relationship space. The other person doesn't even need to know. And then you can really just start to clear and reorganize your space for something new to come in. Out with the old, in with the new. We've heard that so many different times. And so you can do that yourself. You don't necessarily need somebody to come in and help you. You can really empower yourself and do it yourself. And it's ultimately also about supporting this mission-driven programming. And we bring together community here at Free Speech TV. We bring independent, investigative journalism coverage to the homes of millions of people, and this is free. We're not charging a premium or anything to be a part of Free Speech TV. It develops this incredible community of people there and empowers and informs people. And this is why we need your support. We need your support because Free Speech TV is commercial free, it is independent, and we do appreciate your support. So please call us now, 877-378-8669, or go to freespeech.org. And if you could donate $175, then this wonderful downloadable link, which is very eco-friendly, we don't have to spend money in shipping, it doesn't clutter our houses, with any packaging. It's just there for you online, which is a really great way to do things. It's a great way to learn. And it's also for you lifelong learners too. I'm one, you're one. If you watch this network, you're a lifelong learner. Why not learn how to improve the quality of your life, clear your space, clear your mind, and empower yourself with this type of wonderful information. So thank you so much for being here and for graciously offering this product to our wonderful community of free speech.
My pleasure. I'm glad I can help support.
Yes, you are. You're supporting our minds, you're supporting yourselves by getting this, and we really appreciate it. So thanks again, Tisha.
My pleasure.
I appreciate it. And thank you so much for being a part of this program. It's your energy exchange that makes this happen. I appreciate your comments and your support in watching The Aware Show. Thank you so much. I love being here with you. And if you'd like to watch more inspirational programming, you can go right here to Free Speech. You can check out the show's page, and The Aware Show is right on there. Or you can go to theawareshow.com. And you can also visit me at Lisa Gar Host on Facebook. I am Lisa Gar, and until next time, I invite you to stay aware.